Well, ladies and gentlemen, things are not looking too good for Donald Trump, and he knows it. We'll get to his most recent meltdown on the subject of his legal troubles. But first, here's the big news. Georgia grand jury likely to hear Trump case next week. And this, an Atlanta area prosecutor has notified at least one witness to appear before a grand jury early next week. The most significant indication of her intention to seek indictments in the investigation of how Donald Trump and others tried to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia. And this is Jeff Duncan saying to CNN that he has been asked to appear in front of this Georgia grand jury on Tuesday, meaning Fani Willis is likely presenting her case and seeking indictments.
Political commentator Jeff Duncan joining us now. He is a former Republican lieutenant governor of Georgia. So good to see you. So, have you received that notice that would come from their office, a 48-hour notice to testify?
Frederica, I did just receive notification to appear on Tuesday morning at the Fulton.
This does seem to indicate she's going to be seeking indictments, and the expectation is that includes of Donald Trump. If that indeed happens and then there's an arrest and arraignment schedule, I'll try to make it there in person and get some on-the-ground coverage content. But Trump, feeling the pressure, has been melting down very consistently. I don't know what he's doing all day because he's always truthing on Truth Social, but he said these fake indictments against me didn't come down from heaven. They came from hell. Now, they came from the most corrupt president in the history of the United States, crooked Joe Biden, in order to rig and steal another election. False. They shouldn't even be allowed to go forward. They're all about election interference and getting even with the Republicans for the congressional hearings currently taking place that show Joe Biden is a crook. Right. A bunch of the allegations that don't have evidence behind them, those are the real ones. But all the allegations against Trump that do have evidence behind them, those are fake. And then we have this. I never asked Mike Pence to disregard the Constitution, nor did I tell him that he was too honest. He is under great pressure and getting very bad advice from Mark Long, and he put Long in quotations. And perhaps some of his other advisors, his poll numbers have just gone down from an already anemic level. Little Mike now wants to be a tough guy. He could have had greatness, but chose another path. By greatness, he means he could have been known as the vice president who went along with his boss's ambition to overturn a free and fair election, do a coup, and install the president in the White House for 4 more years despite his loss in a free and fair election. Then he continues saying, I hear that racist Fulton County, Atlanta District Attorney Fani Willis, gosh, what a child, Fani Willis, who weekly presides over one of the deadliest communities in the U.S. with thousands of murders, violent criminals, and gang members roaming the streets while going untried free and are treated with kid gloves, is using a potential indictment of me and other innocent people as a campaign and fundraising con job, all based on a perfect phone call as president challenging election fraud, my duty and right. Of course, nothing in there is accurate. If indeed indictments are brought against Trump and his allies in regard to their election interference in Georgia, it will be because there's evidence for him possibly violating the law, because you can't have a situation where elections happen and then people just go and unlawfully overturn those elections and pressure officials to fraudulently do so. That can't be allowed in a country of law and order. The lunatic left, working closely with crooked Joe Biden and his corrupt DOJ, is not only focusing on election interference, but on getting the Trump campaign to spend vast amounts of money on legal fees, thereby having less to spend on ads showing that crooked Joe is the worst president in U.S. history. While far from perfect, President Joe Biden has actually been one of the most, in terms of legislative victories, effective presidents in recent memory. Again, far from what I would like, but just when you compare him to other presidents, that's definitely the case in recent memory. And it's, as I will continue to say, so dangerous that he pushes this idea. We've seen what it can lead to. We saw the guy in Utah, I think it was recently, who was making threats toward President Joe Biden based on lies like this, and prosecutors, and then ended up, while FBI agents were making about to make an arrest, he ended up being shot dead because of a confrontation that ensued based on his threats to the president and to, like I said, prosecutors and the vice president based on lies like what Trump tells here. And also, you don't have to spend your campaign cash. You could spend your own money, but you spend other people's hard-earned cash because you're cheap. How can they charge me in Georgia? The phone call was perfect. Witch hunt. And he's referring to the Find Me 11,780 votes phone call that was far, far, far from perfect. And thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. And there's a link in the description.